Welcome back to On the Line. It's Tuesday, March 12th, and I'm Corey Mall here with Ashley Tishins in the studio today. We have Olivia calling in remotely. It was a blur this weekend.
Just so many things happening. Like, gosh, like craziness.
Yes. Two crazy national meets, 3 to 4 days of nonstop indoor track and field action across two national championships. We'll go over our favorite moments from the weekend, the top results to come from those meets. Plus, we'll dive into key storylines heading into Adidas Indoor Nationals this weekend. We also have some thoughts heading into the 10, a meet out in California this weekend, and a little bit on the Texas Distance Festival too. But first, as usual, we're going to dive into an interview with the Bullis School boys. What a weekend these guys had overall. Let's welcome in the foursome of Alex Lambert, Julian Robertson, Colin Abrams, and Quincy Wilson. That group broke the 4x4 national record in 3:11.87 at New Balance Nationals Indoor, beating their former mark from a couple years back, while Quincy broke a 20-year-old 400-meter record formerly held by Elsie Coleman in 45.76, and Colin was the runner-up in the 800 in a PR of 149.71. Just an outstanding weekend from the Bullis boys. Overall, we want to welcome these guys in. How are y'all doing? Thanks for being with us.
We're doing good. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
So let's start with this. I know there's a lot to unpack here. I want to start with the 4x4. You all broke the record you formerly held in 3:12.53 from 2019. And I don't think many people saw this national record going down other than maybe yourselves. So can you talk to me a little bit about expectations going in, and then how did your expectations meet reality? And let's just go across from Colin over to Julian.
Yeah, no, I think there was a lot of expectations going into the weekend in multiple relays, the sprint medley, 4x2, and the 4x4 on the boys' side and the girls' side. And I think we had some disappointments starting the week with the SMR and the 4x2, but I think we really brought it back on Sunday. And I think we just used those first two relays to really motivate us and bring us energy for the 4x4. And I think we all knew within that if we all ran to our best capabilities, that it was possible to run 3:11 or even faster. And I think that, we just all showed up on the day, and we had a great race, great stick passes, and it just all came together.
Like I said, I think we were prepared very well for coming into this race. A lot of things, we faced a lot of adversity throughout the weekend. Like Colin said, we had momentum coming into the 4x4 because we're starting off the day with with the shuttle hurdle relay, and going into Colin's 800. It motivated us going into my 400 and the 4x4 as well. And these guys been working hard, and so have I. And it came together when we needed it to at the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, coming into the season, we knew we wanted to come and break it, and that's what we did. So we just had to trust each other, run for each other, really, and use that momentum that we had in the morning all the way through, and that's how we got it.
Yeah, coming into this meet, especially, we knew we could do it, and all we needed to do was put it down on the track, leave it on the track. I don't think there was really any doubt between us that we could break it. But that's what we came out to do. That's what we did. We delivered.
It's all about the 1% variables that make the difference in a record run like the 4x4. You surpassed your own record by less than a second. So in your eyes, what was the difference maker in this race? What made that 1 second difference for you all? Was it a person? Was it a handoff? Was it what did it come down to? And Alex, I'll go back to you.
Really, I just think we've been through so much, all the losses we took. I think we all just remember that. Obviously, with me, Quincy, and Julian last year, it was just a lot of pain and suffering, and I think we just remember that when we stepped on the track, and we just ran as a family. And I don't think it was one person; it was just all of us together, just trusting each other.
Now, I want to talk about that moment when you guys crossed the finish line and saw you broke that record. Me and Olivia were there watching in person, and just seeing all that energy. I mean, you guys were jumping up and down, high-fiving, hugging. It was very obvious that, this was a huge moment for you guys. Break down those emotions, and also, too, just that atmosphere at the track when you guys broke that record to kind of cap off New Balance Nationals. What was that moment like for all y'all?
Yeah. Like when I run, I kind of like to do math sometimes with the splits. Like sometimes I don't know if it's a bad habit or not, but I'll look at the clock a lot when I'm racing. And so like I saw when Quincy had 100 meters left, the clock was showed like 2:59, and I did the math, so I knew Quincy had to close in like 11 or 12 for us to break the record. But he's a strong kid, and he closes really hard. And so I knew he was gonna do it, and then he crossed the line. It was like 309, 310, 311. He broke the tape at 311, and I think like there's a lot of pictures that show it. Like we were all just really happy, and the emotions were flowing. Coach Lee came down to the track and hugged us all, and yeah, it was just a record that we've been chasing for a while, and just really seeing Quincy cross that line at 311, it was super exciting.
I love all of that. Now, national records are national records, right? But I think it's almost a little bit different when it's your school's national record that you're really trying to strive for. Does it feel even more special now that you guys like lowered your school/national record, or is it something, or does it kind of change the perspective when it's another school's record that you guys broke?
I think that we've been chasing it ever since the beginning of the season. You know, those are like our older brothers. We look for them for motivation. We're all like a one big family. You know, even though we're still living into their legacy, because the things that they created, we wouldn't have been able to do without them. So you know, 312, they ran a great race when they were 312, but we got to remember that they were juniors and they lost their season for COVID. And so you know, we wanted to go out here and let them know that, well, we got their backs and things like that. And you know, how we ran extremely hard because we knew it was Julian's last race because he was a senior, and we knew we had to come out here and end it off with a bang. And he came out there and ran his hardest, ran 47, the fastest split he's ever ran. And, you know, we were more like ecstatic for him because you know he's been working his tail off, and you've been seeing. And when you see like your teammates and things when they working hard and it pays off, you know that they've been extremely proud of them, and I'm extremely proud of all of them.
Julian, can you go into that then? I mean, last race with these boys at nationals to get that win. So what is the feeling from you? How are you feeling with that race?
Yeah, I mean, I was really emotional. You know, it was my last race. I was happy, excited, but also like I'm a little sad. You know, it's my last indoor race with them. Yeah, we got outdoor season, but indoors is two different sports really, and you know that's like the end of one saga of my life. And, you know, it just really meant a lot that I was able to do that with them. You know, they mean the world to me. So does the rest of the team. And like the fact that I was able to share that last moment with them, it really really means a lot to me.
Now, obviously, you know, you guys broke the 4x4 national record, but that wasn't the only national record to come, you know, from that group up there. Quincy, we have to talk about your 45.76. You break the 20-year-old 400-meter national record. I mean, just it was electric in there when that happened. That record has stood for so long, and you know, finally it goes down. Just break down that race for me. Like, what was your mindset going into it, and then just take me through each stage of the race until you know you finally crossed the line and realized you broke that record.
Starting off from the beginning of that weekend, you know, coming into it, we had a long flight and things like that, but I had to stay very prepared and hydrated throughout the week. You know, we had the prelims, and I ran multiple races because we wanted to go out there and show the world what we've been working for. So I ran 4x2, 4x4, and the 400. You know, I ran a prelim there, Reggie Lewis. The bank wasn't raised to the highest potential, and I came out there and ran 46 seconds. So the next day, I knew I would take that same energy and bring it to the next track. And you know, when I got into the blocks, everything felt normal, and when I took off, my practice came to mind. And, you know, I've been working extremely hard at practice, and so my results paid off, and I've been looking for this national record ever since I was a little kid, seeing Tyrese Cooper and a lot of these other kids when I was growing up running these times and almost breaking that national record. And it means a lot to me because I've been looking up to these guys, and now I finally got the chance to break the national record. And you know, I wouldn't have been able to do it without any of these guys pushing me every day at practice, and they work extremely hard too. So it wasn't just my national record, it's the whole team's national record, because without them I wouldn't have been able to do it.
Now, a bit of a follow-up to that. I mean, I think just to highlight how crazy this record is, I mean, 45.76 would have placed you, I believe, 5th in the NCAA 400 for the men. Like, that's just remarkable, and I think it shows just, you know, where that time takes you. And I believe I saw afterwards, too, that you had a quote that I think someone asked you about the Olympic trials, you know, this upcoming summer, and said that may be something you have your eyes on. What would that mean for you to compete? Like, you know, obviously that's so far ahead, but, like, you know, with that in mind now, with that on your radar, like what would that mean to you to compete at the trials and actually have, a legitimate shot of making Team USA potentially?
Honestly, being staying healthy is the number one goal for the finish in the season. Even I just want to have a successful sophomore season, and that could be something at the end of the season that we all could be looking for. You never know; everybody still has potential and things like that. And just coming to school and preparing myself, and if my results keep paying off, you never know where things could take me. And I'm just thankful for what I'm living into and the moment that I'm living in right now.
So throughout the season, I feel like the Bullis School itself has just been challenging, like I think the waves in a sense. You guys have been doing different events. Like I just think about the 4x8 indoors, which you guys ran earlier this season. You guys were setting the bar for a national record, but at the end of the day, you guys had a chance to get out there and learn from that experience. I want to open it up for everyone, but Quincy, kind of directed to you. What is so special about this year when it comes to just doing things outside of the comfort zone that you guys kind of, when you think of Bullet School, you think of sprints and the hurdles, but the fact that y'all lined up and did a 4x8, a lot of people started turning their heads. So what does it mean for you guys to just kind of shake it up a little bit and get outside your comfort zone?
Well, one of the things I really want to point out to us, last year we only had 4 boys going into every race, and we ran really well. 3:14 was our best time we ran outdoor, but this year we have more. We probably have 10. We have over 10 boys this year, so we have a variety. And this team, we came out here and we put this team together 15 minutes before we're about to run, which is very special because we could put anybody out here and we give them our best results because everybody was ready to work. And Coach Lee knew it didn't matter who it was; they just whoever was ready to run and whoever was feeling healthy was able to get put on the team. And honestly, I think we've went through a lot of adversity, and God has a plan for us. And our time may not have been last year when we took many losses, but He has a time for everything. And this year is probably our time. And like you said, Alex and Colin are still juniors, and we have a lot of freshmen, and we have a lot of juniors on our team. And Julian's the only senior, so we're looking really good for next year and the years on, and continuing the Bullis legacy that Ashton and a lot of people put out there for us. We're just keeping on that team and showing we have range. We can run the 4x8, the 800, the sprint medley, anything we put into it because we've been training for anything that comes in our way because anything can come in our way, and we just want to face the adversity and go out there and run our best races.
Wait, so Alex and Julian, you were on that 4x8 earlier in the season?
Yeah, we were.
This was our
This
4x8.
was
This was 4x8.
All right. Well, let's get some feelings. What was that the worst race of the season that you guys were forced to be in? Like what were your thought processes around running the 4x8?
I mean, coming into it, me and Julian, we started doing 4x8 training for the first time, and we had Coach Sarah. She was a wonderful coach. She just taught us so much. She gave us so much strength. And I mean, Coach Lee told us about it. He got us hyped about it, and I mean, we were ready for it. We weren't scared. We were just gonna go for it, see what we can do. I mean, first 4x8 ever, and I mean, I think that was my second ever 800, and I just had the mentality that we can go do it, and I still think we can sometimes. So yeah.
Julian?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that was my worst race. Our races have their ups and downs, but that race, it might not have turned out how we wanted, but it still holds a special place. It was my first 4x8 ever with the best team I could ever ask for, and this program, we have a lot of coaches, and they offer us plenty of opportunities to do what we want, and it's really the best place I could ever dream of being.
We posted a reel this weekend of a 10-year-old punching the New Balance abs. And a coach responded to us in that video and said, "This is what happens when coach puts you on a 4x4 you don't want to run." I'm assuming for y'all that was the 4x8, but that's another point. One last thing on the 400, Quincy. I actually was able to get in touch with Halsey Coleman this morning, and I wanted to chat with him about his record going down, and I told him what you ran, and he basically said records are meant to be broken. So props to you on that. His high school coach was actually at Nike Indoor Nationals, also informed him, and he just kind of looked at me and he smiled. All these records are meant to be broken by people, in the future. So props to you. My question, though, What's the most surprising person who's reached out to you in that time since that's congratulated you or given you props?
Um, Honestly, if I had to go to it, um, probably Noah. Noah probably. Noah. Actually, his mom and my mom actually talk a lot, and being able to follow in his footsteps and things like that, because he, like, again, he's like an older brother to me. I look up to him, and he tells me great advice on what I can keep doing. But also Grant as well. Grant has taught, like, I've been running with his dad and things like that since I was a little kid, and I've seen him since he was in Grassfield High School. So I know the ups and downs and things you have to go through to prepare you for these moments. So I think Noah, Grant, Vernon, also a lot of the 400 runners, that are out there. They've reached out. A lot of people have actually reached out.
Love it.
That's cool.
I love it.
that.
Colin, I want to move to you. 800. You broke 150. Huge step in your career. Congrats to you. Finished as a runner-up there. What did it feel like to really be competitive in that race and really have a chance to get after it and break 150?
No, yeah, it was amazing. I mean, I've been looking at breaking 150 ever since my freshman year. Outdoor as a freshman, I ran 152. And after I ran that, it's always been my goal to get under 150. And training had been amazing leading up to this race. And I think that I knew that it was my time to break 150. And also, like, all my 800s this year, I had kind of run solo. And I knew that I was going to have, like, great competitors and, like, Patrick Hilby, who took out the race super fast. So I was kind of able to just key off of him the whole race, and the pace was definitely hard. We went on like 24 mid, and I've never gone out that fast in 800, but I think that that's what like breaking 150 requires, just trying new things. And yeah, the race was hard, but I'm glad I was able to be competitive and stay on the pace. And yeah, I'm just super happy with the result, and super excited to be able to break 150 and become the 12th high school boy. Get under.
Now, I know we've been talking about a lot of track, but let's shift to just a couple fun questions for a second here. First off, I would love to know, obviously you guys are pretty close, and I'm sure you guys have some unique stuff or things, fun facts people don't know about y'all. Like, what's something unique or fun about your squad that people don't know about?
I feel like there's an inside joke here where you're not going to tell.
I know.
You go first.
I don't even know. Like,
all right, I'll start. Like, I like to cook a lot, so like I'll make different meals at home and stuff like that. So yeah, I like to cook.
oh
my God,
We can talk about.
I got one.
We had,
actually.
remember that Friendsgiving we had?
Bro.
That was fun.
Like,
Like with everybody, the boys team and girls team, we all came together for like a little Friendsgiving, playing spike ball outside. We lost, me and Julian, but we coming back. We coming back. We coming back. So not worried about that.
Yeah. Also, I think like our team chemistry, like it's like more than like like on the track, like you said, we're always together. If you look at it, all of us are together. The girls and the boys at the same time, always having different events, like when it's special holidays, Christmas, Halloween, anything. We're always together and things like that. Just team bonding, because there's special moments when things get hard, like pin relays. When things get hard, you just have to be together, because that one little thing that someone may be hurt, but you have to pull them up and things like that. And that's what team chemistry is all about.
Love that. So basically what I'm learning here is Colin's the chef, and so if I want to get a good meal from you guys, I'm going to be going to Colin. All right, cool. And now another fun one. We ask our guests this a lot of the time. Indoor and outdoor, they're both a little different. Which one do you guys prefer, each of y'all, and why? Which one's better?
Personally, I prefer outdoor. I just say that because I think you get to run a little bit faster, of course. I think I love indoor too. The atmosphere at New Balance and all the other meets was amazing. But I think that I like outdoor a bit more, just because of like you get to run faster times and bigger crowds and just yeah.
Me personally, I like indoor better, because you get a variety. You get a variety of races. You can do the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5, the 6, the 7, the 8. Like, you can do all the time instead of the 2 and the 4. So I love that. And indoor, you get all the hype. You're like right there inside of the one facility, and like everybody's not walking around to me. So like I like indoor probably a little bit better.
Personally, I'm gonna have to go with outdoor. I just like the energy, like everybody together having fun. Like the weather is just nicer. Like I hate being in the cold, especially indoor practice or worse. But yeah, And 400 is only 1 lap instead of 2. So yeah, I'm gonna go outdoor.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say outdoor as well. And get that nice clean air when we're out on the track. And practices are warmer, except for pen relays. That weather is always terrible. But we can pray this.
I love it. All right, y'all, before we let you go, I'm not going to let y'all sneak away too quickly now. So the outdoor season is upon us. And if you guys remember, I asked you this same question at the VA showcase. What are some of the records or those big marks that y'all are striving for collectively as a team before the 2024 season comes to an end?
Yeah, I think just continuing this momentum from the indoor season. I mean, we broke 2 national records. We broke the SMR and the 4x4. So I think looking at those events and like Alex mentioned, I think we still have a good 4x8 in us if these boys are up to it. We have a great support system, and they support us in whatever which we try to do. So there's a lot of good opportunities this outdoor season for sure.
Yeah, of course, and looking into what we left off last year on the plate, we left off pin relays is one of the most important things, and American team hasn't won pin relays since 2008, and I want to go out here and represent America this year, and maybe we come out with the win, and I just can't wait for all the action because pin relays has a great environment, and we're looking pretty strong right now, coming from the momentum that we have from indoor, like Colin says. So pin relays looking like on our minds, so we know that'll be on our minds.
Yeah.
Anything else from Alex or Julian before we go?
No, I'm good. I got everything I said.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us this morning. Believe it, the season is just beginning for you all, and we are looking forward to Penn Relays because we will all be out there, and hopefully you take down Team Jamaica in the 4x4. So best of luck, okay? All right. Take care, guys. All right, that was the Bullis School boys who had a tremendous weekend at New Balance Nationals indoor. Just quickly, Olivia, have you signed into your flight yet?
I did.
Oh,
I did sign into my flight.
Wait, what's the boarding group?
Did
What's
you?
the boarding group?
I am C40 for
no.
Virginia Beach.
Oh, no.
Tomorrow.
Oh,
so,
no.
Yeah, no,
Oh, no.
Just save a seat for me.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
All right, let's move on to a recap, essentially a quick recap of the national records that went down this weekend across New Balance and Nike. We were pretty spot on.
I was going to say, didn't we say that 3 to 6 range or something like that? And the events too, if you look at it, we were pretty right on the nose.
Boys 5K, New Balance, Daniel Simmons. Girls 5K, Nike, Elizabeth Leachman. Boys 4x4, Bullis, as we just talked about. Boys 400, Quincy Wilson. Boys 2 mile, Drew Griffith. Girls 4x mile, Cuthbertson. Am I missing anything?
I think that's it.
Hopefully.
It. I hope that's it.
I think that's it.
What you can, Ashley, we'll stick with you. I mean, what are your thoughts looking at this list of events that went down?
Yeah, I mean, like you said it, we were pretty spot on, right? I think we went into this thinking, okay, that girls 5K is going down, that boys 5K is going down. I knew we threw some relays out there. I felt pretty solid about Quincy.
I don't know about the boys 5K. That was probably
Really?
that effort from Simmons for me was up there, top 2 most surprising things to happen.
Really? I guess I thought he would break it, but I didn't think he'd break it by 20 seconds.
13:38.
That's insane. I didn't expect that. I thought he would
That's
maybe
nuts.
just maybe beat it by a couple seconds, but I mean he demolished that record. They're at Reggie Lewis too.
Yeah, my question is what's more impressive, the 5K or the 2 mile from Griffith?
Oh gosh, I kind of
Ooh.
want to say the 5K. I want to say the 5K.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I agree.
So go ahead, Olivia. Go ahead.
Well, I was just thinking, I know I talked about this last week. I was just it all depends on how Drew Griffith decides to attack this race. If he's going to go for it, he's going to go for it. He's done it. And I know it was on an oversized track. So I was we've already kind of felt like that could happen. It was just a matter of doing it again on another time. But the fact that, gosh, that boys 5K was just ridiculous. I was not expecting it to be demolished that much.
Another point
so I
too.
think that's why I'm more surprised.
I'm not 100% sure. Did Reggie Lewis have pacing lights? I don't know if they did.
I don't think they did.
I don't think so because
I don't think they
Actually,
did.
no.
Did they have the pacing
Yes,
lights?
they did.
I don't
think
remember.
yeah.
And I guess the other question too. So Drew had a pacer for part of the race too. He had Marcus Riley pacing him through part of that 2 mile. So again, I wasn't at. I should have asked. I don't know if Danny Simmons had a pacer or not. But
to be quite honest, I actually was a little hesitant on the 2 mile going down because I did think the 300 track benefited him in some ways, but honestly, like they're both equally as impressive in my book. Daniels and Drew's are balanced, straight across the board, because what Drew did was incredible. He essentially verified his previous performance, and any doubt that was existing erased it.
I mean, he went faster than he did on the oversized track, on a 200 track, essentially solo. I mean, he had a pacer for a little bit, but it was essentially a solo effort. He was ahead of the pacing lights the entire time, and he broke a record that stood for so long. I mean, Edward Cheswick was a legend in high school running when he was back in the day, and so now to break that record by 4 seconds, like, that's incredible.
There was no pacer for Elizabeth 5K, but in some ways there was. Zariel went out with her 5 minutes through the first 1,600 meters. So, it kind of just worked out, to be honest. But, and just one last thing. Can I ask you about Cuthbertson, 4 by mile, first day? I know you guys were at NCAAs, but Olivia, what were your thoughts on the 4 by mile from Cuthbertson?
I was just shocked. To be completely honest with you, 19:22.70 is ridiculous. Absolutely nuts. And the fact that you think about who had that record before, like 15 seconds faster than Flower Mound back from 2022. I believe Natalie Cook was, on that relay. Like that, I could not believe it when we heard the news while we're at NCAAs. That was just incredible.
To be honest, I was sitting there at NCAAs watching this race on my laptop, and because I think we all went into this thinking it was going to be Flower Mound that was going to break this record, if we're being quite honest. But maybe we shouldn't have doubted Cuthbertson, because we saw what they did last year at New Balance Indoor Nationals. I mean, I believe they set the national records in the 4x8 and the DMR there. I mean, they know how to put together a good relay when it counts at New Balance at a national championship. And so to see them do that, it's really impressive. And Charlotte Bell had a phenomenal, I think, 440 anchor leg there for them.
We'll get more into that briefly, but we're going to go into the weekend that was, and we'll start first with New Balance. And there was a lot to dig into, but we're going to have to kind of pare it down to just 3 moments that we're going to go into. The first of which is Quincy Wilson's national record in the 400 meters, 45.76. Just absolutely incredible moment here. Olivia, let's start with you. What were your thoughts here on this?
Well, I think Quincy Wilson blew everyone's minds inside the track at New Balance. I just think about standing there at the top of the curve and watching Javion Green win the first heat of 47.21. Of course, with Quincy, he had to strive for, right? And it's just obviously with him, it's more than just grabbing the victory. I think we all kind of knew he had the potential of breaking that 400 record. And so for Javion Green, he went through in 21.99. And then when Quincy took off, his split was 21.85. And I'm thinking in the back of my mind, man, Quincy's going to have to close really hard if he wants to really strive for that 45-second barrier. So I'm thinking he has to push everything that he has inside of his body to make sure he gets across that finish line. And the fact that he closed in 23.92 and the energy that was inside that venue, just thinking about it now gives me goosebumps. It was absolutely remarkable the way how Quincy just attacked it from the start and literally had about a second and a half, 2 seconds, margin, because Javion Green finished second overall. So Quincy just did a fantastic job. I remember when we were talking about this at the beginning of the season, and we were just it's a matter of when this record was going to fall. And the fact that Quincy did it as a sophomore, it's just even more scary to think where he could be by the time he graduates.
Isn't that a measure of his ability, though, in the second half of a 400, that his basically is transition between splits is 2 seconds, 23 mid, right? And most athletes can't hold on in that second half. Mm-hmm. That's the measure of who he is, why he's so successful.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I think the 400 suits him so well, because it's not only tapping to his speed, but he can go out insanely fast like we usually see him do, but then he can hold on. You know what I mean? He has a little bit of that endurance to carry him to the finish line. I mean, we've seen that in the 500 and the 600 too as well. personally for me, I think going into this, like, I thought he was going to break the record. Like 45.9, I was like, it may be close, but I think he'll do like 45.9. And so to see him do that, but run 45.76, I mean, it's just crazy. Again, high school sophomore, this record has stood for 20 years. We've been waiting 20 years for someone to take down this record. And Quincy Wilson gets it. Again, he's just 16 years old. He's a sophomore. And, you know, like I said earlier, like he would have placed 5th in the men's 400 NCAAs. Like, these are grown men that he would have been competing against, and he would have been in that final. And he would have finished 5th. It's just crazy. And again, I think it's interesting that we're having this conversation, especially in 2024, with it being an Olympic year, you know, with like the other things, and, you know, not to put pressure on a high school kid, but like, you know, I'm sure those are some things that he's thinking about as well.
Yeah, I think it's natural in an Olympic year that you see teenagers with big aspirations start to sort of take themselves to, you know, another level. It happens, quite honestly, a lot. I mean, Noah Lyles in 2016, Vashti Cunningham, same thing. Sydney back in the day, like, it happens. Arian Knighton, like,
Yep.
you know, we get it every Olympic cycle. So maybe this is just another example of that. I will say all the track stuff is amazing. Now it becomes sort of a conversation about how do you manage his career?
Yeah.
Because after a performance like this, that is, in some ways, just like he broke a nearly impossible record. Now you start to have conversations with people that maybe you weren't having earlier, or maybe it just elevates a little bit more, and you have to keep them focused on the training. You know, it would be easy to sort of now have all this influence, and you have to marry those two things together. How do you keep him locked in? How does Quincy keep locked in? And I think he will, because he's the type that'll do that. But you have to keep him locked in on training and make sure, you know, the goal isn't accomplished yet. But also, now, what do you allow in? What don't you allow? What are some of the things that are going to help his career on outside the track? I think all those things are now going to be a part of it.
Yeah. But I will say, though, like, I think from what we've seen from Quincy, he's got a good head on his shoulders, you know, and so I think that, you know, he's going to continue doing the things that have made him really successful, and he has a big, you know, good support group around him, which I think is really
Bullis
cool.
is a great school.
Oh,
I mean, it's perfect, I think, suited for that, too.
For sure.
All right. Another crazy moment from New Balance that you both saw there was Jake Odie Jordan of Archbishop Carroll setting a new sophomore class record in the 200 and breaking 21 seconds in the process to win a national title here. Olivia, we both, I think, did I call this? I called this.
You called this. I didn't
No.
call this. You
I
called this. You called this.
I literally said the guy's name on our
did.
podcast last week.
You said he wasn't going to win, and they definitely heard the podcast last week. You were like, "Oh, he's not going to win this, but maybe he'll." You were like,
I said
he's
a sophomore to
like,
watch. I said he is the sophomore to watch in the 200.
Yes. So here he goes, bringing home the national title. I just remember I'm on the ground. I texted Ashley. I think I told this to Ashley too while we were there. Coach Vic texted me like within 15 minutes of Jake about to run. And his text was like, that sophomore record, we're grabbing it today. I'm claiming it right now. And I was like, yeah, I could, see that happening. And put in perspective, it's 21:05 by Tyrese Cooper. The way Jake tore up that track, I have never seen him execute such a fantastic race like he did at New Balance. 20:66 to demolish the sophomore class record en route to being a national champion. And Ashley was down there with me. Coach Vic was just in ultimate tears. Like, half my shoulder was just full of Coach Vic's tears because he just hugged me. It was just completely shocked. I don't even think Coach Vic knew what happened, because when I asked him, I was like, what did you just witness? He's like, I have no idea. That guy just did everything that he was supposed to do. And I'm going to throw this out there right now. You can @ me on social media. I do not care. There's no pressure at all with this, but I really think after just seeing that 20:66, like Asama Singha's 20.48, it's in jeopardy now. Like, this kid is just a sophomore. If he continues to mature, get stronger, and just keep his head on straight, like, we could potentially see this kid do something fantastic in the future.
I have a hot take here.
Okay, what's your hot take?
I think.
Okay,
I
what's
think
the hot take?
I think that the track at New Balance has a psychological advantage. Last year,
Yeah.
we saw 2 moments from Hodge and Asinga that we couldn't believe.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
200 here, in some ways, is unbelievable as well. Quincy, I think there's some variables that are impacting athletes when they get on this track that is creating this atmosphere. It's kind of like BU.
Yeah.
But at a national
I was just about to
scale
say that.
in high school.
Yeah. Which is really cool.
It is.
Yeah.
It only gives this meet more draw.
Exactly. And I think
Yes.
I think Olivia put it right. Like, I think we got to watch Jake now. Like, that's not only a sophomore class record, but US number 5 all time.
Well, the question though is, so at BU you have these advantages.
Yeah.
You get fast times, and then sometimes they come back to earth. So do athletes come back to earth after they got off the track at New Balance? That's a question to answer too.
I don't know. That's a good question. Either they come back to earth, or it gives them motivation, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, I can do anything," and then they go out to outdoors, and then they just like crazy. Like we saw what Asinga did after he had his breakout at the track. He never stopped. Like it just kept going. So it could be a similar scenario, right? Where you do something big there, and it's just all right. That's just the first stepping stone. I don't know.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I applaud the OD Jordan. I going into New Balance, I kept seeing his name and performances, and he's a guy he stood out. If you got in a good race, he was going to have a good performance. All that being said, there was 3 guys that broke 21.
Yeah.
Jaden Wiley, great job if you're watching this. Kane Stanley, kind of in the last
faltered in the end.
Yeah, his form. I don't know what
Yes.
happened. Was it just I don't know. Did he trip?
He may have misstepped. We were trying to figure that out too. Like maybe he just kind of lost his balance or something.
Yeah.
That's what it kind of looked like to us.
He lost his balance and he still ran under 21 seconds.
Yeah,
so
pretty
good stuff
crazy there.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Overall, great stuff from the sprints.
Wait, I have one more point I want
Go
to
for
make,
it.
actually. I think this is also interesting to point out with Jake. Like, if you look at Archbishop Carroll, we all know that Nick Harbour came out of there. I mean, he was a phenomenal star. I mean, he's gone faster now than Nick Harbour has gone, and he's only a sophomore, so that just something to know. He's got 2 more years.
2 more years. It's
Yeah.
scary. It's very scary. Let's move on to the Cuthbertson storyline. Relay dominance out of the North Carolina program. And I don't think any of us projected maybe the level of which it happened over the weekend, beating a really, really strong Flower Mound team in two different events. What are our thoughts here with Cuthbertson locking in, winning the DMR and the 4x-mile and doing it in the way that they did? Olivia?
Yeah, I just thought it was absolutely remarkable. Like I mentioned earlier, 1922.70 is just ridiculous. And the fact that you even took down like Flower Mound's performance back in 2022, I remember Corey, you and I were there. Actually, I don't know if you were part of our team yet, but it was at the Armory, and just watching that performance, the energy in there was just incredible. And I was like, there's no way someone could run faster than what they did that day. But Cuthbertson really put together. I know Ashley's going to talk about this, just the pure domination of this program. But it was just, I'm still speechless from it. I honestly think Cuthbertson is like the Bullis school, except for the distance side. Like it's just completely, they know how to put a team together, and they know how to break records on that side too, which is just remarkable to even think about.
I kind of like that comparison. I guess I've never really thought about it that way. But again, if you look at it on paper, over the past few years, they've set records, national records in the indoor 4x8 DMR and 4x-mile. I mean, like, that's dominance right there. Like, that's coming out of an era where, kind of like what you alluded to, we've seen so many other strong, quartets on the distance side come out. Like, you think of Flower Mound, you can even, throw in plenty of other programs as well. Like, but it's always Cuthbertson over the past years that's come out on top, especially indoors. There's something about indoors that Cuthbertson does really well. And yeah, like I feel like you got to like look at this, and it's, it's just remarkable, I think, especially considering how many strong distance teams we've seen, and they're always the ones that end up winning.
Who was their 4th?
Oh, it's Shill. That's
Okay.
Yes. So it's those 3, and then Shill is now there. I think she's a sophomore, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Charlotte Bell, Stella Kermis, Justine Persano,
Persano.
and then Shill. Yeah, I don't think we naturally expected Cuthbertson to come back after last year and that legendary team to retain the performances, but they did. Olivia, I think the cycle is ending after this year. You know, they have this little stretch run of dominance within a bubble, but it'll be hard to keep that next year. I will say that. Whereas Flower Mound, I'm a little bit more on board with them still being at a level to compete. And the thing with this is, which is so interesting, is that, and we talked about this last week, you can't predict what the other teams do. Flower Mound trained to break a national record, and they did it. They broke their former national record.
But then someone else just beat him.
Exactly. Cuthbertson, training on their own, doing it even better. You can't predict that sometimes.
I will say I see just a lot of parallels in terms of the programs of Cuthbertson and Flower Mound, right? Like, we know Flower Mounds, I mean, you're starting with them sometimes in their middle school. Like, sometimes, like, you know, you're seeing those athletes and then they transition up to the high school program. Cuthbertson kind of has the same approach, right, where they have those cross-country teams and stuff. And, you know, you're kind of identifying some of those and working with those younger athletes and helping them build. So maybe they're training similar ways. I don't know. Like, it's definitely interesting to me.
Charlotte Bell versus Samantha Humphreys, fun to watch.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
I would love to have gotten inside her head in those anchor positions, because Humphreys was sort of making up a little ground, but Bell ran incredible splits. She ran just fantastically to keep them from losing, and she won those races, so props to her. Let's move to Nike Indoor Nationals, which was in New York City. I was there with Robert Keller, Kyle Brazel, and Derek Dingle, and Joe Swift. We had a cool team there just covering the races, and the best moment to happen came on Saturday when Elizabeth Leachman won the 5K in a new national record of, what was it, 15:28:90. We thought it would happen, and then it did. Ashley, I'll go to you first.
I'm not surprised. I think I said this the previous show going into Nike. The longer the distance, the more she's able to lock in, the better she is. And so in my mind, when she told us a few weeks ago when she was on our show that she was going after something big in the 5K at Nike, I was like, all right, it's done. She's breaking the national record. Like, and sure, I guess it's maybe like you think about that record, right? It was set by Caitlin Toohey when she was a sophomore, and we all know, you know, the energy that comes with, you know, the name Caitlin Toohey when you think back on her high school career. And so, you know, huge moment for Leachman here right now. She's broken that record. She also broke Caitlin Toohey's outdoor 3,200 record already multiple times. You know, it's just so, I think it's just a testament to how fast she is right now. Again, she's only a sophomore. There's a lot of parallels there between her and Toohey, and you know, the trajectory of their high school careers maybe already. I know she's still got 2 more years, but again, that 5K record, you know, I'm not surprised.
Just 3 seconds off Natalie Cook's outdoor record of 15:25, and Leachman is running at the Texas Distance Festival this weekend in an outdoor 5K. Just FYI. Olivia, thoughts?
I'm just shocked. Well, I'm not shocked. Like, it's just, I'm not surprised by what we saw from Leachman. It's just, I'm shocked at the fact that we're seeing these kind of times right now. Like 15:28:90 is absolutely no joke. Nearly shaves 10 seconds off Caitlin Toohey's performance back in 2018. And again, we keep talking about it. She's a sophomore. Like, that is absolutely scary to think about how much more growth she has. And I honestly think most of it has to do with how mature Leachman is. Like, we've had her on the show, you know, just a couple weeks ago, and she just mentioned how much she has grown and how she can attack certain races a certain way. But the fact that she was able to go out and execute the Leachman race strategy and just do it the way that she did was incredible. So huge shout out to Leachman, and congratulations to her for just putting it all together at Nationals.
Her mom came up to me after the race, and she said, I was worried. I thought y'all jinxed it, because you said it before she came in. And she was going after the national title, and we thought it was jinxed a little bit. Turns out Elizabeth doesn't believe in jinxes.
Well, good. That's good.
Yeah, and was able to get it done on the day. I mean, it's incredible to watch. The interesting part about this too is, I think there was a whoosh of a crescendo of sorts from the facility. They didn't understand what was happening at first, and that's natural for a 5K. It's long. But Ron Lepresti was on the mic, and he kind of announced to everyone, hey, by the way, this record could go down in the next 400 meters. And that's when everybody started to sort of like provide that swell of fandom, and it helped her down the stretch. And the big thing that I noticed too is just her speed.
Yeah.
Her turnover in the 2 mile, which she also won the previous day over Jane Hennegren, it's better than I remember it being.
Yeah.
I think there's something there where she's closing races really well in 32 seconds when, obviously you're at your most fatigued, you're at a deficit there, and you're getting it done. So congrats to her. Great performance. Up next, 5K at Texas Distance Festival this weekend at South Lake Carroll. We'll see if she can break Natalie Cook's 15:25 national record there. Second storyline, Riley Smith of Buchholz, Gainesville. He had 3 races over the weekend, 2 wins, 2 ridiculous anchor legs, a national championship in the mile. This kid had a awesome weekend.
Yeah.
You guys saw him at Milrose. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe I would argue that he's probably the most underrated distance athlete in the country, especially after seeing what he did this weekend. I mean, he basically tripled here. He won the mile in 4:06, helped his team to a 4x-mile win, and then second in the 4x8. Like, we saw him, win, like you said, win at Milrose, which I don't know if I was expecting him to win at Milrose, but then all of a sudden I see Riley Smith rounding the turn. I'm like, man, he's got a kick, and he won at Milrose. And yeah, like this, I feel like we need to be talking about him more. Maybe it's because he's from Florida, which, typically, I mean, they do have an indoor season now and an indoor state championship, but typically maybe you don't think of Florida athletes running indoors and, going up to New York and doing that as well. But yeah, I'm like, dang, we got to watch out for this guy come outdoor.
Maybe it's sub 4.
Yeah.
Olivia, thoughts?
I completely agree with Ashley with Smith being an underrated distance runner right now. Like, just knowing what he did over the weekend, as Ashley talked about his splits and just contributing to the relays and then also winning that mile as well. Like, I just think it was just incredible to just see him kind of everything start to click when it's supposed to happen. So it was a busy weekend, just like putting all the miles in together over, a couple days. So yeah, huge shout out to Smith for a great performance too.
I think every elite athlete has a competitive edge to them, but after speaking to him, I think his is a little bit higher. Yeah. You look at a lot of the really successful types, their competitive desire is so strong. So after they come out of a loss, they a lot of times just rev up even more. And I think I sense that from him, because in that DMR to start out the week, he did lose, but he was 5 seconds back from Tosin Sin and Perez up top. He literally willed himself into that front pack and caught up, ran a 4:02 split. That was the most impressive, I think, performance of the weekend. And then he had to come back 2 days and do it all over again and do it all again, make a statement for this team, which was trying to sort of just impart themselves on this event. And I think they accomplished that. I think he's just that type that loves competing. And he talked about it after the meet, where he wants to get in big races in the outdoor season. He wants to prove himself again. He's not going to specifically look for times. What he thinks, time will come as you compete with others. And that, you talk to any coach, they'll say that too. But he really believes that once he gets in big races, the times will come. Really impressed by him. And he had his whole family travel too from Florida. It was really great to see his mom there. His grandparents, I think, were there. I think just an amazing support group, and Buchholz deserves pretty good credit there at Nike Indoor. Last storyline, Jaden Horton-Mims avenging his PA State Indoor loss in the 400. Earns that, and also splits a pretty mean 46 in the 4x4 to end the meet. Olivia, let's go to you.
This guy's a gamer, and a loss will fuel a fire for sure. What I can say is I'm really impressed with this kid, Jaden Horton-Mims, all season. Just where he was at the beginning of the year. Like, this guy, I feel like, has just come a long way. He ran a season's best last year of 48 seconds indoor. That was the fastest time he has run. This year, he debuted his indoor season with a 48.48 and nearly dropped 2 seconds. That is so unheard of in the sprint. So that is super remarkable. 46.85 to dip under 47 seconds. I know he ran 47 seconds in that prelim And then to put it all together in the final 46.85, I just can't wait to see what he does for the spring. I feel like this guy's really the next big thing. So shout out to him for a great performance at Nike as well.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like he's a guy we need to watch. 46.85, especially indoors, is, I mean, that's no joke. And I believe he was also second in the 200, 28 only to Kendrick Jones Jr., Blake Belton. And yeah, helped his team win that 4x4 there. So, I mean, all in all, a great triple there. And he's definitely a guy we need to watch. And like you said, sometimes all you need to do is lose, and then you may not lose for a while after that.
Yeah. Only 100th away from the PA State record of William Reed, who ran 46.84 way back in the day. I asked him if he changed his strategy at all into, going into the national championships. He said, no, sir. No, sir. Didn't change anything about it. He said, I wanted that 46 and I wanted to win. Props to him. Great job there. All right, let's go to Adidas Indoor Nationals, Adidas Track Nationals, and stay on Jayden Horton Mims because he was third place in the 400 last year. We didn't really know his name after he came out of that event, but obviously this year he has risen to the cream of the crop. So who's our next Jayden Horton Mims this year at Adidas Track Nationals? Ashley.
Well, I'm going to go with, I know he's a senior, but I think this could set him up for a good outdoor season, and I think that's Ricky Williams out of Camden County High School in Georgia. He's a Tennessee commit. However, I think he could have a big weekend here at Adidas. He's entered in the 200. I believe he's the second fastest seed. He's already opened up his outdoor season with a 21.95, but he has an indoor best of 21.96. And, sometimes like all you need is just that one race, like you mentioned, to really be the moment that's going to propel you forward. And I think this could be the moment for Williams for sure.
I like it. Olivia, what about for you?
LOL. I misunderstood the assignment for this part because I was thinking in my head, who is the next person that I feel like could potentially be like the next Jayden Horton Mims. I don't know. I don't think this person is competing at Adidas Indoor Nationals, but I just want to put on your radar about Lisa Ray from West Warwick, and she's from Rhode Island. She kind of popped up on this radar during the indoor season. She's a sprinter. She's also a sophomore. She's gone 7:31 in the 60 and 23:53 in the 200. So I feel like she's an athlete that I need to just continue to have on my radar, just knowing that she can blossom into something special. But yeah, that would be the person I would give a shout out to.
And that's a good pick. She had a very good, I think, surprising performance at Nike Indoor. So I would agree with you there. Mm-hmm. On my mind, Jameer Averett Brown of Wayne, Ohio. We saw him win a 60 title at the Ohio Indoor State Championships. He's entered in the 60 and the 200. At Adidas, he's clocked a national freshman class record of 675, and he's gone 21.37 for 200. It's not hard to not see the potential in him. He's clearly got it. Now, he's not exactly like Jayden Horton Mims, who we weren't even talking about last year, but he's got that ability to blow up, I think, and that's kind of what we're getting at here. So for me, it's Jameer Averett Brown, and hopefully he does something. Hopefully we are able to kind of take some storylines out of Adidas Track Nationals, and he might be one of them. I like the Ricky Williams pick, too. I think he's underrated. Which standout from the weekend are you most looking to see at Adidas, Olivia?
Okay, for me, Ashley and I kind of agreed with this one. Some athlete in the pole vault, so I'll let Ashley talk about her in a little bit. But Mary Bonner Dalton, I also think, is an athlete to really keep your eyes out for as we approach Adidas Indoor Nationals this weekend. She'll be competing in the distance event. Another athlete I just want to put on people's radar because she's a young star. She's essentially like a social media like influencer and like has really popped off. I remember meeting her for the first time at the AAU Junior Olympics after she won the 400 meters with a 53.87 is Jaya Patillo, and she's from Nebraska. So she's been competing a couple times during the indoor season. She's gone 56.04, just a freshman. She's the fifth fastest freshman this indoor season. And so I feel I'm looking forward to seeing her again and seeing what she can put together in that 400 meters.
I actually think she's gone faster than that. I think she's split 54.
I think 55, 54.
We looked at this.
Yeah,
it was 54.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's moved up a little bit. So let's see what she can do this weekend.
Good pick.
So Gia Patillo,
Good pick.
looking out for her.
I know you mentioned the pole vault thing. Personally, for me, I'm looking forward to seeing Veronica Vaca compete this weekend. We saw her win the pole vaults at New Balance this weekend, 13:11 and a quarter. That was a meet record there at New Balance. And I think the question for me is, could she hit 14 feet this weekend? She's already gone 14.3 for a PR at the PTFCA state meet not too long ago. She's also the defending champion in this event. Last year, she won both New Balance and Adidas, and so she's going to try to do this again this weekend, and I definitely think she could do that again.
I like that pick. I'm going to go with Charlize Trinity McKenzie of Cedarburg,
Love
Wisconsin.
that pick.
Just a sophomore. She's entered in the 800 and the mile, and I think she can get close to 206. I think, she's ready to go. She's fit. She's already gone 209 this indoor season. She ran 208 last outdoor season. She's going to be in a competitive field, so I don't think 07 or 06 is out of the question for her. And then for the mile, just kind of improving on her mark. I think she's gone 4:57 for 1,600 meters. I think she can definitely bump that down as well. Talked to her early this season. She's a really good talent that, is kind of off the radars a little bit, but I think this gives her a podium to kind of like step onto and show herself. So, all right, before we leave, just closing notes. You're headed out to California this weekend for the 10.
Yes, I'm pretty excited. That'll be fun.
Thoughts? Any big performances we should watch out for?
The 10, it's kind of an interesting event, right? It's put on by Sound Running, held at, I believe, JCR Catholic High School. It's interesting because not only do you have pro fields, specifically those 10K fields are really elite fields for the pros, but you have high school distance events. You got the 800, the 32, and the 1600. So lots of action to watch, which you'll be able to watch live on Flow Track as well. But I think what I'm most looking forward to is you're going to have Sadie Engelhart in the pro women's 1500. I think that's going to be exciting to see how she does. She's just coming off of where she ran 4:36 at New Balance, broke Juliette Whitaker's meet record there. I'm excited to see what she can do when she lines up with these women. Yeah,
that's going to be fun. And then otherwise, in Texas, we have the Distance Festival in South Lake Carl. We already mentioned Leachman's going after the 5K. Samantha Humphreys is running the 8. Nicole's running in the 16. We got our guy Noah Stroman, great freshman last year. He's running in the boys 1,600 meters. We got some Colorado schools that are going to be there. Benjamin Anderson is running in the 3,200 meters. So I think that always stacks up pretty nicely on the distance front, and we should be coming away with some top performances there. Olivia, anything else to add before we leave?
It was a great weekend of indoor. We got one more, then the indoor season comes to a close, but I'm looking forward to all the events happening at the 10 and also the Texas Distance Festival as we continue to power our way through as our road towards U20s in Paris. Yeah. It's going to be great.
Technically the indoor season is like still going for Indiana and like
yeah, it's weird.
Some of the indoor states,
man.
But our indoor season closes after Adidas and we move on to outdoor. So yeah, it's weird. But another show, another crazy weekend of action. This is our biggest yet. As we transition to outdoor, so will our show. So stay tuned for more coverage on MileSplit.com. We'll have all of it, recaps and everything coming on from Nationals today, tomorrow, leading into Wednesday. So stay tuned for all of that. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll talk to you later.